Hello everyone, welcome back to Grandstand Sports Data, your go-to channel for sports, stats, and unbiased handicapping. We have something really special in store for you today. You've heard the debates and seen the comparisons, but have you ever wondered who truly deserves the title of the greatest pound-for-pound MMA fighter of all time? Join us as we have researched the past MMA rankings to develop a system to determine the GOAT of MMA. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button if you appreciate the effort that we put into these videos, and don't forget to comment down below on who you would rank the MMA GOAT. So first, we're going to start with the criteria as always. We're using a point-based system to determine the fighter's overall scores. Each fighter's rank earns them points, with rank 1, or being ranked the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter, getting 10 points. Then being ranked number 2 grabs you 9 points. Then ranked number 3, scoring 8 points, and so on down the line. We're not just looking at recent rankings. We're going back in time. So our rankings count all the way back to the year 2000, giving us a deep dive into the long-term impact on the sport. And guess what? We didn't just account for the rankings on a yearly basis. We tallied the rankings every quarter, so no fighter's recent dominance goes unnoticed. Finally, we use reliable data by getting our rankings from the trusted source in the MMA community, FightMatrix.com. They provide comprehensive and dependable rankings that both MMA fans and experts rely on. So make sure to check those out as well. So there you have it. We got a fair and thorough system in place to determine the ultimate MMA pound-for-pound GOAT. It's time to see who has consistently ruled the octagon over the years. So now let's start with our honorable mentions. And from the bottom, working our way up with our point system, we have at number 15, Mauricio Shogun Rua. He gets 93 points. Number 14 would be Wanderlei Silva. Number 13 would be Chuck the Iceman Liddell with 104 points. Please note that the next guy, Alexander Volkanovski, is labeled in yellow, and the guys in yellow mean that they are still active. So if Alexander Volkanovski in this next quarter of rankings was to be ranked the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter, he would have an additional 10 points, which would bring him to 127. Number 11 would be Matt Hughes at 123. Kamaru Usman cracks the top 10 at 127 points. Number 9 would be Stipe Miocic at 128 points. Then you have Daniel Cormier at number 8. Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira at 146. And then just missing the top 5 is Jose Aldo at 174 points. So let's start with our top 5. Coming in at number 5 is Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. Demetrius Johnson is an American mixed martial artist known for his success in multiple organizations. He is the current one flyweight champion and the former inaugural UFC flyweight champion. Johnson is praised for his quick striking, elusive movement, and record-breaking achievements in the UFC flyweight division. Throughout his career, Johnson has held multiple championship titles in different weight classes. He holds the record for the most takedowns in UFC flyweight history, and co-holds the record for the latest finish in UFC history with a submission win at 4 minutes and 59 seconds of the 5th and final round. In the UFC, Johnson defended his flyweight title an unprecedented 11 times, making him one of the most dominant champions in the promotion's history. He also received numerous accolades, including Fight of the Night, Knockout of the Night, and Performance of the Night awards. After being traded to ONE Championship, Johnson continued his success by winning the ONE Flyweight Grand Prix and claiming the ONE Flyweight Champion. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson has been ranked the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter 5 times in a row consecutively from July 2017 to July 2018. His total points comes to 180, and as you can see from the grid, this will show you how many times he's been ranked number 1 through number 10, giving him his points of a total of 180. Coming in at number 4 is Anderson the Spider Silva. Anderson the Spider Silva is a Brazilian mixed martial artist and boxer, and is the former UFC middleweight champion with the longest title reign in UFC history at 2,457 days. His reign began in 2006 and ended in 2013, during which he achieved a UFC record of 16 consecutive victories. Silva started his career in Brazil's welterweight category, and after several wins and losses, he became the Shudo middleweight champion by defeating Hayato Sakurai, who was undefeated in his first 20 fights. Silva fought in Pride Fighting Championship and Cage Rage before joining the UFC in 2006. In his UFC debut, he knocked out Chris Lieben in a spectacular finish. He later defeated Rich Franklin to become the UFC middleweight champion and successfully defended his title in multiple fights against formidable opponents. In 2013, Silva lost his title to Chris Weidman and suffered a severe leg injury in their rematch. He faced a series of ups and downs, including positive drug tests, but continued to compete in the UFC. Silva's career was marked by numerous accolades, including Fight of the Night, Knockout of the Night, and Submission of the Night awards. He holds several UFC records, including the most finishes in middleweight division and the most knockouts in the middleweight division history. Silva faced challenges with injuries, drug testing issues, and some criticized him for showboating during fights. Despite the controversy, Silva's legacy in mixed martial arts remains significant, and he was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame in the Pioneer Wing in 2023. As of 2020, Silva was released of his UFC contract, leaving his future in the sport uncertain. Please note that Anderson Silva was ranked the #1 fighter 13 times in a row from April of 2010 to July of 2013. He was never ranked lower than third best in the world from October of 2007 to July of 2013. His total is 243 points, and he was ranked 13 times at #1. Coming in at #3, George St. Pierre, also known as GSP. He's a Canadian actor and a former professional mixed martial artist. He is widely regarded as the greatest fighter in MMA history. St. Pierre was a two-time division champion in the UFC, winning titles in the welterweight and middleweight divisions. Throughout his career, St. Pierre achieved numerous accolades and records. He held the UFC welterweight championship 3 times and defended it 9 consecutive times, holding the record for most wins in the title bouts and the second longest combined title streak in UFC history with 2,204 days. Fight Matrix lists him as the top MMA welterweight of all time and the most accomplished fighter in MMA history. St. Pierre's UFC debut was at UFC 46, where he defeated Karo Parisyan. He rebounded after his first career loss to Matt Hughes and went on to face top contenders, defeating the likes of BJ Penn, John Fitch, and Carlos Condit. In November of 2017, after a 4-year hiatus, St. Pierre returned to the octagon and won the UFC middleweight title by defeating Michael Bisping. He later vacated that title due to health reasons and officially retired from MMA in February of 2019. Throughout his career, St. Pierre set several records, including the most wins in UFC welterweight title fights with 12 and the most total strikes landed in the UFC welterweight division with 2,523. He also holds the record for the most takedowns landed in UFC history. That comes in at 90, and the most controlled time in UFC history at a whopping 2 hours, 42 minutes, and 4 seconds. St. Pierre's retirement was a momentous occasion in the MMA world, and he was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame in 2020. Despite rumors of potential comebacks and fights against other champions, St. Pierre remains retired as of the latest update. His impact on the sport and his legacy as one of the greatest fighters of all time continue to be celebrated with statues and honors recognizing his contributions to MMA. Please note that he was never ranked lower than third best in the world from July of 2008 to January of 2015. He comes in at a total of 255 points, and due to the system, He may have gotten robbed in being the best fighter of all time because of another fighter fighting in the same era that we will touch on coming in a few minutes. Coming in at number 2, Fedor Emelianenko. Fedor Emelianenko is a prominent figure in both sports and politics. He is a former professional mixed martial artist, sambist, and judoka from Russia. Fedor gained worldwide fame during his MMA career, competing in organizations like Pride, Rings, Strikeforce, Bellator, and Rizin. In his MMA career, Fedor achieved significant success, becoming the Pride heavyweight champion from 2003 until the organization's closure in 2007. He also won numerous other championships, including 4 combat sambo world titles and 2 Russian national judo bronze medals. Fedor was widely regarded as one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time, consistently ranked as the top heavyweight fighter from 2003 to 2010. Fedor's career played a vital role in popularizing MMA in Russia after gaining attention in Japan, South Korea, and the United States, and also around the world. He retired twice from MMA, once in 2012 and then again in 2023, with a record of 41 wins, 7 losses, and 1 no contest. Apart from his sports career, Fedor ventured into politics and was elected as a deputy of the Belgorod Regional Duma in 2010. He also served as the president of the Russian MMA Union and was a staff member of Russia's Council of Physical Fitness and Sports. Fedor's legacy as an MMA fighter and his contributions to the sport made him a celebrated figure in the world of mixed martial arts. He was never ranked, please note this, he was never ranked lower than second best in the world from April of 2003 to April of 2010. That is a 7-year period at being a top 2 fighter in the world. He was also ranked number 1 from April of 2003 all the way to January of 2010. His total comes at 294 points. Coming in at number 1, Jon Jones. Jon Jones is an American professional mixed martial artist signed with the UFC. He is the current UFC heavyweight champion and was previously a 2-time UFC light heavyweight champion. Jones is considered to be one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world and holds several records in the light heavyweight division. He started his MMA career in 2008 and also started his UFC run in 2008 as well. Jones quickly rose to prominence with his unorthodox striking and grappling skills. He became the youngest champion in UFC history at the age of 23 by defeating Mauricio Shogun Rua for the light heavyweight title. However, Jones faced multiple controversies and suspensions throughout his career, including testing positive for banned substances and legal issues. Despite these setbacks, he reclaimed the light heavyweight title in 2018. In 2020, Jones vacated his light heavyweight title and moved up to the heavyweight division after a pay dispute with the UFC. He returned in 2023 after 3 years off and won the UFC Heavyweight Championship by defeating Cyril Gane via submission. Jones holds numerous UFC records, including most title defenses, most wins, and longest win streak in the light heavyweight division. He is often regarded as one of the greatest fighters in the history of MMA. Please note that his total points were 295, only 1 point above Fedor Emelianenko. And this is who I was referring to when I was talking about George St. Pierre. George St. Pierre consistently ranked at number 2, while Jon Jones was the number 1 pound-for-pound guy. So that was a great time to be watching MMA, seeing both Jon Jones at number 1 and George St. Pierre at number 2. So, like always, we'd like to thank you guys for watching. We hope you found our historical ranking selection of the greatest pound-for-pound MMA fighter of all time entertaining. Our goal at Grandstand Sports Data is to provide you with the stats and bring the unbiased handicapping. So if you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Also, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Your feedback is everything to us, so leave a comment below if you would like us to do this broken down by weight classes or even for other sports. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next one.